Michael Higdon, hello, buddy. How are you today, man?
I need an intro like that. That's spiffy, man.
I'll hook you
Makes
up with somebody that can do that for you.
makes I want to look way more important than I am like that, you know?
Well, thank you. I'm glad you like it. How are you, brother?
Just kidding. I'm doing fantastic, man. It's a beautiful Wednesday here in our great state of Kentucky and Louisville, Kentucky, and just getting after it, man, every single day.
Yeah, I know you are. That's one of the things I want to talk to you about, in fact. But well, listen, first of all, thanks for being on the Tim Hollinden show today. I'm excited to have you as my guest. I think there's a lot of agents out there that can learn from a successful agent like yourself. I know for the audience, Michael was a Remax agent for like 15 years and came to EXP 4 years ago, 19 years in the business, just crushing it every year. He's a two-time icon agent winner at EXP. We'll talk about what that means here in a few minutes. But I just appreciate you making time. I know you're super, super busy. In fact, it took us a couple of weeks to get our schedules aligned to even get this done. So thanks for being here today.
Yeah, no, it's just called normal, It's what we It's what we do.
Exactly. Even in a correcting market, it's still normal, right?
Yeah, and I think that's where people kind of lose their head. It's like, listen, people were buying and selling houses even in 2008. You and I, we've seen the good markets, then we saw the bad markets, then we've seen the good markets again. We've been on that incline, that entire time. So,
yep,
we're going to continue to buy and sell real estate regardless of what the market is doing, what the people say they're doing, what the politics are, what the world tells you it should be going on. So people need to get a grasp of that.
And you can't even listen to what the world's telling you anymore.
You can.
You don't know what to believe.
You don't want to live in a box, but it's like, sometimes you have to put blinders on and just know that if you can control your daily schedule, control your mindset, and control the things within your business, that you can kind of predicate what your business is going to look like. And it's not, stop and looking at all the shiny things around you that are going on, but really, again, right here, this is what I'm doing every single day, regardless of what, that's not saying trying to better your business. That's what we're all trying to do, and doing that strategically every quarter, every day. But when you find some core things that work for your business, rinse and repeat those, and then slowly add on, everything. And that's what I've done my entire career, is find things that work and not go, oh, okay, we've got that mastered. Let's go work on this shiny new thing over here.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you to dive into that here in a few minutes, because that's one of the things, as I said, I mean, I've always been impressed by your just sticking to the basics, and to some extent, especially from a marketing or prospecting standpoint. We'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. But before we go there, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about you? Go back as far as you want. Talk about you. Whatever you'd like to say. Give us a little.
Yeah. So I'm grace of God. I'm 50 years old right now, married to my wife, 16 years, Kelly. I've got two kids, Jake, my son's 13, daughter Ava is 10, and I've got two pugs, two little dogs. I'm a University of Kentucky grad, a lifelong Kentucky Wildcat, and still living here in the great city of Louisville, Kentucky. And that's where we practice, in Louisville and all the surrounding counties as well.
Right. Awesome. And you started your real estate career 19 years ago. Kind of take us through that span, if you would.
Yeah. So I had an advertising and marketing degree background, and I've always been in either advertising or journalism. And then that quickly moved to sales, because I realized that I wasn't going to make any money sitting behind a desk in that capacity and letting other people getting credit for the ideas that I was coming up with. So I really looked at the sales guys and I was like, they make a lot more money than I do, and they're out of the office and they're having more fun and getting to experience more life. So was in telecom sales. Then I went to multimedia sales. These are all with, corporations and businesses. Mm-hmm. And the one business I was with, they filed bankruptcy, I guess overnight, kind of. The writing was on the wall. This is around Enron time. So they pulled a mini Enron, and I was in the process of getting my license in real estate. This is 2003. Late 2002, early 2003. So it was kind of like, well, I guess I'm selling real estate now. And I went to my broker at the time and I said, what do I do to be successful? He's just like, talk to a lot of people and go talk to builders. And so I went out and talked to a lot of builders and talked to a lot of people, and just got on the phone and took a lot of what I did in the business sales world and carried that over to real estate sales. And I think my first year, I sold 37 houses my first year.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so I was blessed to do that and just have continued to have success. You've had some years gone down a little bit with the market in 2008, 2009,
Hmm.
but then you just learn different skills of short sales and bank foreclosures. And you
Yep.
just, you have to be a chameleon in this business a lot of times and change with the times, which is what I've been able to do over 19 years.
Absolutely. And I was at Remax as well. You were at Remax. Actually, you were at Remax way longer than I was. I owned a Remax franchise, but you were there 15 years. I think I was there 4 or 5
Yeah.
before I sold my franchise. And I know we've had this conversation before. I was never leaving Remax, never planned on it. You've told me the same thing.
Yeah.
What enticed you to make the move to EXP 4 years ago?
I wasn't planning on making a move either. And I was comfortable, and comfortable can sometimes be a dangerous word because it lends to complacency. And I
Yep.
realized, I wasn't pushing myself, and I wasn't looking over the fence to what other things were available out there. And I saw the plan, and Elizabeth Monarch, who's in our organization as well, showed it to me, and it made sense. And what attracted me was the stock options and being able to get paid on what I was already doing. At Remax at the time, I was on the 95-5 split. I think I had, there was a cap at that time. So it was kind of like you get to, I think, over $100,000 in commissions, and you still were paying money back to the broker. And that 5% franchise fee, I'm like, where's that going to? And so I was basically getting nothing for
The
that money.
latter.
My broker was Dave Liniger was over here, but I'm just like, what's this 5% going to? So then I saw I could go over here and take that 5%, and that's going to go back to me in stock purchase prices to the tune of, at the time it was, we got it at a 20% discount. Now it's at a 10% discount. And at the time the stock was probably, this was 2018. I think I was in the 9,000 range, and the stock was probably $6-7.
Yeah, and
So
that's before it split.
and that's
Actually, I have the answer to that. It was $3.80 a share in 2018 on the average. It was trading
yeah.
about 760 or so, but we did do a 2-for-1 split since then. So you got to talk about the adjusted price of this.
Yeah. So then you're buying, you're getting all the stock, you're buying all the stock. And it was one for me, it was just kind of like a set it, forget it. Yeah. Just whatever I'm doing. I'm, still cranking a lot of deals. And then I got to my icon status, you get that $16,000 cap, and I got icon, and you get a big chunk of all that gifted back to you in the form of stock. And at the time it was really cheap. So you hit icon a couple of times, as I did, you get a lot of stock back to you, which has created quite a lovely nest egg. It's down a little bit just because the stock's down, but it did split. It, went up high to 160, then it split, and then that doubled everything I had. So that's really set up a nice, retirement or house money, you might say, that I wasn't really counting on, or that Remax wasn't really giving me. I was getting that. You got a lot of those from Remax, didn't you?
Oh yeah,
Great job.
I
Go
got
sell
plaques and
another one.
trophies and all kinds. In fact, I just moved, so I threw a lot of that stuff away. It's worth about 50 cents a piece of paper.
I don't want to, and I'm not. This is not a bashing Remax.
No,
all because I had a lot of good times there and a lot of good memories. But I remember getting all those wooden plaques, and I had a huge burning of all those plaques. Like after my first year with EXP, I took them out in the yard, and I was like, you know what? Let's burn these suckers, because all they're worth is dead wood right now. And I'm looking at all my stocks over here that I have in my account that are accruing and gaining a value as we go along. And that's one of the huge things, both building a retirement plan. And again, this is not an EXP call. I know we want to talk more about business, but that's what our brokerage has lended us. Just one of the pillars of ways to make money in this, by, the icon status, and by, again, purchasing your own stock at a discount. And again, for doing the same thing that we were already doing, which is selling real estate.
Yep, exactly.
That was the main thing that made sense to me.
So was it a good move?
It's been a great move. It's been a great move. And again, I continue to do that every single day. And it's like, I've had a really good, we're in the fourth quarter right now, and I've had a tremendous fourth quarter. And again, I don't even look at it. I'll peek at it maybe every 6 months, because it's a set it, forget it. I'll play with it at another time, once I get towards retirement, but I'm still too busy, talking to agents, selling real estate. We're still just in the trenches right now.
Yeah. Well, I know you love to pour into other agents, and that's one of your gifts is you've got such a vast knowledge of 19 years of experience and two different brands, and you're doing it right. So let's move to what's a typical day for Michael Higdon?
Typical day, I'm usually up 5:30 in the morning. As again, I have two kids. I've been morning daddy duty for 13 years now, and I think I've missed one day, and that's because of pneumonia. But because my wife, she's a morning radio DJ, and so she's on the air, and I'm like the last line of defense. But so I take my kids to school, drop them off. I'm back here reading my scripts, doing role plays by 7:30. And by 8 o'clock, I'm on the phone. People say, "What are you role playing?" I'm reading the scripts. I'm practicing objections that sellers, expireds, for sell by owners, all these people that I'm calling are going to give me back. And you think, well, after 20 years, don't you know this stuff? You do, but you don't stop going to the gym when you work out, right? Just because you went to the gym one time, you do it every single day to build that muscle to keep getting better. Because if you don't, yeah, it'll atrophy a little bit, and it'll get weak.
Yep, absolutely.
So when I get back, so I get on the phone and I've got a list of people that I call, and a checklist, and it's got 10 to 20 contacts to the right of them. I still call expireds. I still call cancels every single day. There's not a lot of them, so you can whip right through them and just again, it's that question. Hey, when do you plan on moving? Are you still looking to sell your home? You'll get a myriad of responses, which at this point is water off a duck's back. And I think that's,
you've heard them all.
I've heard them all. And, and I think that's where a lot of agents get hung up, is like, oh, I can never make that call. What are they going to say? Who cares? You're never going to know unless you make that call. I'll call for sell by owners, and, it's the same objections you get. And if you know what to say, that's where confidence comes in. People don't make the calls because they don't know what to say and they don't have the confidence. But if you know what to say, and if you know what they're going to say, you're going to have the capacity to answer questions, come off confident, come off assured. And then by doing that, you're going to be able to set appointments.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh my God, what do you do on the appointments? You practice that as well. You practice your listing appointments. So it's really stepping every part of the presentation. After I call for sell by owners, I'll call around just listed, just solds. I'll have a certain, database is probably still 50 to 60% of my business, as it should be for any realtor out there. That's your main gold mine. And I'm calling, 5 to 10 of those a day, just saying, hey, here's the market status update. How's life? How's the family? Do you know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate? Let me know if I can do anything for you. And I'm doing that once every quarter. And then I'll get down to, you mentioned probates and estates, and that's kind of a niche for me. And I've always looked at business as legs on a table. Somebody gave me that analogy years ago. If you have a circular table like the one I'm sitting at right now, with only 2 legs on it, that's not going to be a very sturdy table. You put 3 legs on it, 4 legs, 5 legs. The more legs you put under that table, the stronger the base, the stronger your table is going to be, just like the stronger your business is going to be. If I tell somebody, well, all I'm going to do is call expireds today, that's it. It's not a very strong leg if you don't have that many expireds. But if you're calling lots of different, people, or the other analogy is fishing in a lot of different ponds, you're going to catch a lot of different fish. And that's what I try to do every day. Estates and probates have become probably 30% of my business, very strong leg. And I kind of fell into that, what was it, probably about 7-8 years ago. And I've sold about 150, almost 200 estates in that time. And that's simply because where we are in this life, there's a lot of, we have the largest transfer of wealth with the baby boomers right now in the world that are passing away, not to sound morbid or anything or non-compassionate. That's just where we are. And I saw that with a lot of my friends. More listings on that. Oh, sorry, am I spinning?
You locked up for a second there.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
But I noticed that. And so I said, you know what, there's a business to be had here, and there's a lot of opportunity to be had here. So started to do education, started to dive into it more, created some systems, created some mechanisms to bring those probates to me. So now that every single month I get a new list of estates every single month that I like to call a recession-proof business. And again,
Yeah.
not to sound morbid, but every single month you get people who have an estate that may or may not need your help. And I'll have a list of about 150 people that I drill down to about 75 people. Out of that 50 to 75 people, I'll set 2 to 3 appointments. And out of those 2 to 3 appointments, I'll list 1 to 2 houses and sell probably both of those. So I'm selling anywhere from 18 to 20 some estates a year.
That's awesome. And other agents should really take note of that. That business is recession proof. You know, unfortunately, family will pass at some point, and it's
It
an
is. And I
ongoing.
can't tell you how many agents I've recommended, you know, I don't tell anybody to do this. I'm like, but you'd be silly not to delve into this. It's a different call. It's not calling in expired or for sell by owner.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll get some strong responses from people. I've been called everything under the sun, but you will get people that don't know what they're doing. It's an executor that's never had to sell a property before, an out of town executor that maybe they're in Alabama and I'm in Kentucky, and they're like, I don't have anybody there. I've probably had 20 executors that I've never met, you know, other than maybe FaceTime or on the phone. I've gotten the keys. We take care of the cleanout, the cleanup, getting the property ready for sale. They're paying all the bills, of course, but we're really helping facilitate that from getting it ready all the way to the closing table. The documents are sent out to them overnight. They sign them, they get a check, and they've had nothing but good things to say about us in the whole process.
Yeah. Well, kudos to you on that. I mean, that's huge, you know, 2, 3 a month. I mean, that's a big piece of your business, obviously. Not maybe not the biggest piece, but it's a large percentage. And you mentioned the word compassion. I mean, it takes a special agent to be able to call somebody whose spouse has just passed away and they need to sell their house and they don't realize it yet, for example.
And it's really a different call. And, you know, you have to realize that going into it. But again, that just comes with time and training, and just one of those things. It's like, how would I feel? Or, you know, what would I say if somebody called me, or what kind of help would I need? You just got to ask those questions going into it, and be happy to, if anybody's interested in that, I'd be happy to kind of coach them through that and share that system a little bit, because it is a great system to delve into, just like, and my coach talks about, because it's a life event. And as we get into these, you know, tougher times, people are like, you know, I don't know if I want to be on the market right now with the interest rates going up and the inventories maybe going up a little bit more. So what you want to look at is some life events like estates, probates, like divorce, like, you know, you want to see which friends or family are having babies, things like that. So marriages, exactly. With those naturally become change. People are combining households. So if you put your antenna up to that, then you'll naturally start to attract that type of business.
Yeah. Well, obviously you're hugely successful. You're doing everything right that I know of. I mean, we've been friends for a long time, but I've always respected you. Even before we were friends, I always looked up to you as a fellow Remaxer, and you've always had a good book of business. What's your largest sales year? Do you recall?
My largest sales year.
I know that's commissions, question, but no, look, just in terms of sales prices, 15,000, 20,000, 25,000.
I think it was right at 17,000.
Okay, that's awesome.
It was a great year, And this is a really strong year. I had my largest sale recently. I sold a $6 million farm.
That's awesome.
It was one of my past clients. Again, past client sphere of influence. That's important. But he had a person knock on his door. There was a distillery locally. So he sold it to a distillery that's going to be building on that property. And he called me and it's like, hey, I need you to write a contract up for like $6 million. I'm like, okay. Well, I know a guy that can do that for you.
Yeah, that was a good day.
Yeah.
I put your contact info on the little ticker there at the bottom.
Yep.
Make sure that all that's correct. I think it is, but
yeah, WeMoveLouisville.com. That's the cell phone. That's the name. Be happy to reach out to anybody that needs help or talk about EXP or talk about systems. And, you know, I figure I'm not one of these people that keeps it close to the vest, because I know I want to be a share of information and help people grow. And the only way we grow is to share that with folks.
Yeah.
So, give me a call.
I know it's one of your goals to change a lot of lives of a lot of agents, and you certainly have the skill set to do that, in the background, the proven success, the track record. I mean, you're still coaching 19 years in the business. You still have a coach. I mean,
I still
that's
have a
pretty
coach,
freaking
and I
amazing.
know that I'm modest enough to know that there's so many more things that I want to do. And I see, I want to get better on social media. I want to get better just at systems. So I'm always tweaking things, always growing, but still sticking within the core that's made me successful. So I think there's always ways that we can complement our business and grow. So I don't know everything. I know that there's some young people out there doing some amazing things. And I look at them and say, wow, you're killing it. What are you doing, with this? How can I emulate some of those new systems that are in place right now?
Yeah. Very cool. Let's move to state of the market today. And I probably know the answer to this question, but talk to the agents in the audience that are struggling right now, that haven't been through a 2007, 8, 9 recession. And we're not really in a recession, so I don't even like to use the word, but we're definitely in a correction.
Yeah.
I always use the analogy, the pendulum swings both ways. And, we had a huge, highly successful market for a couple years, and now we're swinging over towards the other side of the pendulum. And you want to be in the middle and average out when everything's balanced. And, that's a perfect real estate market where supply and demand are about the same, which is hardly ever the case. But how would you advise, coach a newer agent or a seasoned agent that hasn't been through a correction like we're in the midst of right now?
Yeah, I still think, number one, it's a contact sport. As much people want to say, well, I'm paying for this, I have leads coming into me, leads being generated, whether your leads are coming in from a Zillow or whatever, you're paying for them, you still have to contact the leads that you have coming in. I would say, to steal from Grant Cardone, you want to try to 10X everything that you're doing now. If you're making 10 contacts a day, double that to 20, make 30, 40, 50, because the more contacts you're doing right now, that's going to lead to more contracts down the line, more people you can put into your database, more conversations. If you don't have a listing, go borrow one of your agents in your office listing, do an open house with that just to get more contacts through the door.
Mm-hmm.
Take a listing that's sold in your area and just say, hey, our brokerage recently sold a property in your area. Call around that listing, call around that sold. We just know from a numbers standpoint, and that's the other point, is know your numbers, know how many contacts it takes to get to a listing appointment, how many listing appointments it takes to get to a listing taken, how many listing takens it takes to get to a listing under contract, listing sold. And once you do that over a 90-day period, you're going to be able to see your numbers and predicate that, okay, it's taking me 200 contacts to get to one listing sold. And then you start to crunch those, and you can predict that, okay, if I have this goal in mind of selling 20, 30, 40, 50 houses, I can back end how many contacts I'm going to have to make to be able to do that. And in that process, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to make 10,000 contacts. On paper, maybe, but as you go through that process, one, you're going to get better on the calls.
Right.
Your listing contacts to listing taken and close and all those ratios are going to start to tighten up, because you're going to get better on the phone and asking better questions and know that this is not a good appointment for me to go on because I'm asking better questions. But you can't do that unless you get really fixed on the contact game. And for me, that's what I've been doing, and do it in the morning, because that is money time. And I learned that from Mike Ferry years ago, is do 8 to 12 is money time. And if you do it in the afternoon, that's when the snakes get out of the cage, per se. And you lose track of because that's when your contracts are written. That's when you go on listing appointments. That's when everything else is going on. So really focus in on whether it's 8 to 11 or 9 to 12, those 3-4 hours should really be contact time. Turn off your other distractions, get off the social media, and really try to make 20, 30 contacts every single day. And it will truly become a predictable business. Whatever you call, whether it's probates, expireds, cancels, call your friends, family, call everybody you can think of, and just ask, do you know somebody looking to sell real estate? When do you plan on moving?
Yep. I love it. Love the structure. Do you have a system that you tracked all those stats in so that you can?
Yeah, I've used an Excel spreadsheet that's been built out for years. There's one called, that my coach turned me on to. It's an Excel-based program called ctebiz.com. That's both a business tracker, numbers tracker. You can predict your business, what you want it to be, and set your goals. how many listings you want to take, how many sales you want to have, what your GCI wants to be. It'll track your taxes, your expenses. This is not a sales for CTE.biz, but I found it's a really good mechanism for tracking your business. And for a CRM, I know we have KV Core within our company that's free. I use Follow Up Boss as well because it has a lot of robust API on the back end, a lot of things with Boomtown and just those. So those are the two main systems that I use.
Okay. Awesome. Any advice you'd like to give the agents out there other than, I mean, you've really painted a beautiful roadmap, and I hope
dogs underneath me.
I hope the agents are taking note of that. And if you want to replay this, at about the 25-minute mark, Michael kind of laid all that out for you. But
yeah, I just think, know that I was having this conversation with someone today. I saw that I think they are predicting 600,000 agents are going to get out of the business in 2023. And my first goal and my first promise is, number one, I'm not going to be one of them. Okay. And secondly, how can I help other people not become one of those? But it starts with having a plan, showing up every single day, and treating this as a business, because it is a business. Every seller you meet with expects you to be a professional, just like they would go to their accountant or to their doctor. You can be the doctor of real estate. Show up mentally, physically, with energy, put on your best dress, and just show up and be that professional every single day.
Yeah. Couldn't agree with you more. Awesome. Well, again, I appreciate you, buddy. I've put Michael's contact information back up on the bottom. If you're an agent that wants to do more business, this is a man to talk to.
Yeah. And Mike Ferry said, this business is it's pretty simple. It's just not easy. Yeah. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it. But if you show up and you do the simple things every single day, you can make it a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate all your advice. Agents thinking about making a move, you call Michael about EXP. Brand new person thinking about getting into the real estate business, Michael can help you there. I'd love to help anybody as well. Just reach out to either one of us. We'd be glad to take care of you. So again, Michael, thank you. Any parting comments, or are we ready to wrap up?
No, I think, again, just get out there, try to find something, some new system to add to your, some new person you can call, whether it's expired, get out there and get uncomfortable every single day. Find some way to get out of your comfort zone by calling a group of people that you haven't called before. You'd be surprised at how that can help grow your business.
Yeah. Who is it that says, it's easy to do, but it's also easy not to do?
Yeah.
We just talked about him the other day, and name escapes me again, but
Earl Nightingale.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah. This is not any different. In 07 and 08, the agents that failed or really their business went down significantly. I actually grew my business in the last recession. So there's that. But I 10x'd what I was doing. Like you said,
this is a great time to grow business. You're going to have they're going to have less agents to compete with. So just realize that. Don't be one of them, because when the cream rises to the top, you could be the cream. So stick around, hang around, keep showing up, because you're going to have less competition.
Yep. Absolutely. Back then I was seeing a lot of agents just standing on the sidelines complaining instead of 10xing their activities. And you 10x your activities in a down market, you're going to be the agent that's remembered when the market starts to turn around, whether it's next spring or 2024 or whatever the case is. So again, Michael, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're a dear friend, a great agent. Reach out to Michael if y'all have any questions. Here's his info one more time, and appreciate you being on here, and thanks for making time for me today.
Absolutely. Thanks for all your continued guidance and accountability.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I love helping agents too, so appreciate it, and love our every Friday call we've been doing for a couple of years now. All right. We'll see you then, brother. Thanks again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
All righty.